This is Money Talks.
Hi, my name is Ibukun Oyedeji, President CFA Society Nigeria. Join me and a host of other financial industry practitioners for Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria.
Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Hello everyone and welcome to Money Talks. Money Talks is brought to you by CFA Society Nigeria. Smart Uzechi is my name. You can call me Captain Smart. Today on the show, Akin Adeniyi, CIPM, is my guest. Akin is the Chief Relationship Officer at Kingstones Limited, a registered independent investment advisory firm he founded in 2006, currently providing investment advisory, consulting, and GIPS verification services. He's also an independent non-executive director at UTL Asset Management Limited. He has over 35 years of experience in financial services, cutting across insurance, commercial banking, stockbroking, trust and pension management, investment banking, and asset management. Akin is the immediate past president and chairman of Council, Association of Corporate and Individual Investment Advisors of Nigeria, CIIA, the SEC registered trade group for investment advisors. A graduate of actuarial science and banking and finance, both from the University of Lagos, here in Nigeria. Akin also holds the prestigious Certificate in Investment Performance Measurement, CIPM, from CFA Institute, USA. He is also an alumnus of the Advanced Management Program of the Lagos Business School. Ladies and gentlemen, let's welcome Akin Adeniyi, CIPM, to the program. Good evening to you, sir, and welcome.
Good evening, Captain Smart.
It's so good to have you. Yeah, you look good.
Thank you.
Good to have you. So Akin will be discussing with me this evening why you need investment advisory. You think you don't need it, but you'll soon discover from Akin this evening why you actually need it. Our phone lines are open 0700-923-923-923. That's the number to call. 0700-923-923-923. You can also call 0818-444-0923. That's 0818-444-0923. Or feel free to send us messages here. You can also record a voice note of not more than 60 seconds and send it to the number 0817-313-6193. That's 0817-313-6193. If you think you need investment advisory, financial advisory, or why do you need it? Why do I need it? You can call and ask questions. We'll start the conversation in just a moment when we return from this very short break. Please do stay with us.
Money Talks.
Money Talks. Money Talks. Money Talks. Money Talks with CFA Society Nigeria. Let's talk about money. Welcome back to Money Talks with me, Captain Smart, and I have Akin Adeniyi, CIPM, as my guest on the program. And we're discussing this evening why you need investment advisory. That's the topic here. So Akin, very quickly, when we talk about issues like this, some persons will say, what is that? Investment advisory. I mean, what thing did they do, self? What thing the people they do? So what do we mean when we say investment advisory, and who are those that actually are in need of it, that should make use of it?
All right, thank you very much. I didn't like your opening when you say what thing they do there. You know why?
Yeah.
A couple of years back, we had a webinar.
Yeah.
Where that was the theme.
Yes.
What advisors do.
Yes.
Okay. So now back to your question. I'll put it very simply. Investment advisory is a service provided by investment professionals who issue or give investment advice for compensation.
Yeah.
Very simple. Let's leave it like that.
So there are actually people who are investment professionals.
Exactly.
It's not maybe somebody just sitting down and say, okay, I have 10 million. Let me go and put it there. Do you need an advisor to actually know where, when, and how to invest your money?
Exactly. Everybody needs an investment advisor. My all-time favorite analogy is in the medical field. Now, Captain Smart, anytime you start feeling unwell, you know what to do.
Yes.
You go to the hospital. You see the doctor.
But some people take agbo.
Well, I mean, but you know the consequences of self-medication,
Yes.
which we always advise against
Yes.
anyway. So they ask you a few questions. They could send you to the lab, carry out some tests, and from there, maybe recommend some drugs. If it's not anything serious, then you can go back home. Now, in investing, which is as important as your, physical well-being. So here we talk about your financial well-being. Why would you want to do it yourself? There are so many people who really, believe it's DIY. There's no problem about that. But in investing, it can be a slippery terrain. It can be rough. And that is why you need to sit down with a professional who is not only trained, he has experience, he has done it for years, and he operates by a higher standard. In fact, higher standard of care. So when you talk about investment professional, like you also said in your introduction, there's a whole world of difference between an investment advisor and a financial advisor. These days, what we get to hear is, okay, I'm a financial advisor, and of course anybody can be a financial advisor. But I'm sure before we get to the end of this program, people will have much more understanding of why you just don't talk to anybody when it comes to investing.
In fact, you took the word out of my mouth, because I was going to ask you, why are we isolating investment advice?
Exactly.
How is it different from other forms of financial advice?
Yes, interesting. So I put it this way: the investing process itself is straightforward. There are three key steps. The very first one is investment advisory. The second one is execution, where you do the buying and selling. The third one is the feedback. We call it evaluation. All right, so it goes in cycles. That is the way it goes. Now, that investment advisory provides the opportunity for the investment advisor to have a very good understanding the makeup of his client, where he's coming from, things like marital status, any health issue, and so on and so forth. Now, there he also does what we call investment analysis. That takes, experience, that takes a lot of crunching of numbers and analysis. Then he recommends, then he takes action. All these things require that you document them very well, and that leads to what we call a higher standard of care for the investor. Now, let's go to other people that like to refer to themselves as financial advisors. They do not have that, should I say, privilege and all the time to do that. I'll give you an example. So, to be an investment advisor, you have to set up your system, so many things you need to do in terms of analysis, get data from the market, crunch, analyze, and present to your client. There, you take the decision together, and then you can recommend what to buy and what not to buy. I'm sure you are familiar, you are very conversant with some of the issues going on in the social media space now about some billionaire policeman or whatever. All right. Now, you need an investment advisor to have sat down with you and be able to tell you candidly, this is not something for you. Do you understand? There is an ongoing debate. It's more like a war now, that where investment advisory derives its legitimacy is from the law and regulation, or quite often both. So what are we saying? Before you can call yourself an investment advisor, a law must exist that recognizes you as one. Where that law does not exist, then there must be a regulation, at least. So now, the cost, one of the greatest costs of not getting advice, we call it conflict of interest, is borne by the investor. Now, the cost of being a professional advisor is borne by the advisor. So there's a conflict. How do you resolve this issue? You cannot just be a financial advisor and say you are, recommending investment for prospective investors. It doesn't work that way, because what the law regulation makes of an investment advisor is to put him in what we call a fiduciary position. It's a position of trust. And you know what happens if you breach trust? It's a criminal offense.
Wow.
So that is how the law or regulation can hold an investment advisor. So these are the issues why we differentiate between people who like to say I'm a financial advisor and I'm an investment advisor. By and large, the title financial advisor is it's been causing a lot of confusion. And it's not a Nigerian problem.
It's a global problem.
It's a global problem. It's not peculiar to Nigeria. It's not.
So the financial advisor is not a general. The investment advisor is not a general practitioner. He's like let me say professionalized. He's in a world of his own.
Exactly. You're spot on.
It's just like going to the hospital and seeing a GP.
Right. Yeah.
And then you're going to see a consultant.
Exactly.
In a particular field. Okay, so talking about this investment advisory, how does it really help the people who avail themselves of the opportunity?
In a lot of ways. Let me see. First and foremost, I've talked about the expertise. Secondly, the opportunities. So the investment advisor is trained, he has the experience, he knows where all the investing opportunities are. And a lot of people just come and say, okay, I saw this thing, you think it's good for me to invest in? All right, then you guide them. Okay, from what I have seen of you, because through that analysis process, you do a profiling. Say, this is not good for you, but this looks good for you. So it's a comprehensive package under investment advisory. You could do financial planning. You do investment planning itself. You could do estate planning. You could do insurance planning. You could do retirement planning, and so on and so forth. So it's a compendium sort of. But for every prospective investor, they have their specific needs. So when they come to you, you know what exactly they want, and you can offer it. The highest level of that is what we normally refer to as wealth management. All right. So I've talked about expertise, then risk management.
Yeah,
they help you manage risk. They can also manage your behavioral tendencies. A lot of people capitulate very easily when there is turbulence in the market. But when you have an advisor that started with you, he knows your construct. He can calm you down because it's a lifetime relationship. They hold you by the hand. This is not the time to bail. Just calm down. Things will come back to normal.
He sees what you're not seeing.
Absolutely. So, if you work with an advisor, you also become educated in investment matters. That's an advantage. Quite a number of ways that you benefit working with an advisor. But that's just a few. If I remember as we go on, of course, I'll chip it in.
All right. You talked about fiduciary responsibilities, which has to do with trust right here.
Yes.
And saying that it could be criminal sometimes. So can an investor hold the investment advisor responsible to the extent that you can say, I lost my money, you are now criminally liable for this loss?
Yeah, interesting question, because I get to hear that a lot. So earlier on, I had touched briefly on the process of advisory itself. There's this enduring acronym that we live by. It's just IARA. Very simple. Investment Analysis, Recommendation, and Action. So all these things that you do, as a professional investment advisor, you have to document them. I can share an example with you.
Yeah.
So this client, a couple, they came when we drew out a plan, very robust, and anytime we couldn't meet physically, we did it on
online,
Zoom, online. I share my Excel screen. So when we concluded, I also handed the soft copy of the Excel document to them. This is to guide you. So they've been doing very well, committed regularly to their plan. Substantial contribution on a monthly basis. So they went somewhere and they got an investment idea, and they called me. I said, okay, send me the pitch. Let me look at it. All right. So I said, I look at it. When I saw it, I just smiled, because they were already doing their own analysis before they even sent to me. So I said, okay, let's meet so time on Zoom again. And then I started. I just laughed. He also laughed. Said, why? You've been doing this on your own. So with what you have done in your own Excel sheet, what does this tell you? He said, Mr. Adeniyi, it means that we shouldn't do it. I said, so what do you want me to say? Now, in that situation, it will be documented that my recommendation was that they should not do it.
Yeah.
So if they go behind my back and do it, they're on their own. But for every decision that I make, it has to be justified, because the analysis must show that this is good for you. But the reason why you cannot hold an advisor liable for loss is because the market out there is uncanny. When he decides to flog anybody, he will flog you. So now, quickly, at the point of evaluation, a professional advisor must be able to justify that it was the market that brought about the loss and not his contribution.
Right. So that there is provision for force majeures and the uncertainty in the market.
Definitely.
The volatility of the market can have a play here.
Yes, there's hardly anything anybody can do about that.
All right. In case you want to join the conversation here, want to ask a question, you can call the number 0700923923. You can also call 0818-444-0923, including 0818-555-0923. If you need investment advice, you can get it from a professional right here. You heard him say that this is not a turf for everybody. It's not a general practice. This is a professional practice that you need to deal with proven professionals who have been there, who have seen all of that and done that. You can send me a message as well, 0817-313-6193. And this message here says, good evening, sirs. For a volatile market like cryptocurrency and Forex, how effective would investment advisory be? And this is Mariana, one of our contestants in the NRSS. Cryptocurrency and Forex, you've seen the volatility in these markets. So she's asking, how effective would investment advisory be for this sort of investment platforms?
Okay, so there are established approaches, methodologies to analyzing asset classes. So you have crypto, which currently does not fall into any category of traditional methodology of valuation. So as a professional now, if it is crypto, I will be very willing to tell you point blank,
don't go there.
Don't go there. There's no hard and fast rule or method or formula or what we can call axiomatic principles to say, okay, this is the way you should go. A lot of research is still ongoing in that direction anyway. So with time, we definitely will get there. But for Forex, definitely there are very basic approaches of managing currency. So an advisor definitely understands how to do that, and of course will provide appropriate guidance for you.
So when people hear things like investment, it looks like a big word, and so some will ask, is this just for the bourgeois, for the well-to-do, or can the generality of the people actually delve into this, especially those who may not be very wealthy, or is this for just those who are in employment, who can get salaries and regular payments?
Investment advice is for everybody. It doesn't discriminate, and like I alluded to earlier on, there are different levels to it. because one thing that we've been able to establish is that people run away from the cost of investment advice. All right, you have to pay for it because the definition I gave earlier on is that you issue advice or give advice for compensation.
Yeah,
that's where you earn your living. So that's why people will say, what did they do there? for those who are current clients of fund stroke portfolio managers, they are paying for it. They are paying for it because they are charged the management fees, part of it. You understand? But another angle to this advice thing is the different models that we have. You know, we have the integrated model, which is just purely an employee of a fund stroke portfolio manager. We have the affiliated employee for those who feel they want to go on their own but still attach themselves to one of those fund managers. And then you have the fully independent model where you owe no allegiance to any fund or product, portfolio manager. You are not a product seller. You give advice. So if Captain Smart happens to be my client, listen very carefully.
Yeah,
I can profile you, design the portfolio for you, and now go to the market and look for the most appropriate products to go into your portfolio. All right. Now, that gives me the freedom. I could go to Farm A, see that their own product is the best. I put it in your portfolio, right? I could go to Farm B, pick another one, and so on and so forth. But for the integrated model, who is an employee, you dare not do that. You can't tell your employer you want to go and buy another product for your client portfolio. Do you understand now?
Yes, I do.
those are the little challenges that we have.
Okay, like this is Victoria Island.
Yeah.
It's like the Wall Street of Nigeria. And every office you see somebody carrying a briefcase, every cubicle there, you see everybody in suit and tie will tell you, oh, we're in financial advisory, this is our job, we're professionals. How do you really know who the real investment advisor is? How do you tell? Do you have it written on their faces? Is it by what they say or by the certificates they brandish?
Okay, so first and foremost, the market has a responsibility to protect investor. The investor himself or herself has a duty of care, and it doesn't stop there. So that duty of care now means you have to do your own search to identify who the real advisor is. And currently, it's a work in progress with the regulator, where you can go to a website, punch in a code, and it will bring out details of registered advisors. So that is the backing of the regulator, because investment advisors in Nigeria are registered with the Securities and Exchange Commission.
Oh, I see.
Yes. So you if you like, call yourself financial advisor to Kingdom Come. There is an authenticating process, and of course, the dossier of the advisor will be there on the site. The experience, his qualification, all the important things that prospective investors really need to know.
Okay, and this message here says, how do you handle hostile clients in cases of market volatility and unexpected event? This is actually part of the last question I have for you,
okay.
Mr. Akin here, because the way you're sounding, it looks like this is a walk in the park. I mean, it's just everything's looking green. I was going to say before that message came in that,
okay,
in case of disputes, when it gets to the point where you're now pointing fingers at each other's faces and say, how can I lose this money? Because sometimes people lose.
Yeah.
So when that happens, what do? You will join that if you listen to this call. Please turn down the volume on your radio. Good evening to you. Hello. Okay, so you can just take the question.
Okay, thank you very much, Captain Smart. For a professional investment advisor, the chances of getting to that situation is very, very remote.
Wow.
Very, very remote. Do your thing. There is professional accreditation. There's a code of conduct. There's a code of ethics, and there are standards of professional conduct. Once you go through the process, you will hardly, as an investment advisor, ever get into that situation. And that is what a lot of people still need to understand. It's a lot. I've never found myself in that situation at all. Now, communication is very important.
Yes.
One thing I must quickly also add, when you said earlier on, or asked rather, is this for everybody?
Yes.
We should be mindful of the fact that with the rise of technology now, people are getting advice on their handsets.
Yeah.
They don't need people like us.
They can Google it.
Of course. But you know that you bear your own risk at the end of the day. So in terms of communication, the human heuristics and everything still brings in empathy, brings in ideas to suit the situation. So it's a thing that you have learned over the years. So I don't really. You definitely get into that situation if you don't know what you are doing as an advisor.
But just in case disputes arise, who do I report the investment advisor to?
The regulator SEC is there.
Yeah.
And then CIIA. That is the Association of Corporate and Individual Investment Advisors of Nigeria. That is it's a trade group. It's an umbrella body of investment advisors in Nigeria. So there's a procedure to it. If you are aggrieved, you report that advisor to their trade group. If the problem cannot be handled at that level, the SEC will step in.
So if I walked into an investment advisor's office, I should look for the SEC certificate there.
Yes.
And the CIA certification also on the wall.
Exactly. The SEC certification and the advisor's code.
It's always there.
It should be there.
Wow.
To ask for it.
This is really an education. So you don't just deal with anybody you see on the street.
Not at all.
Not roadside financial or investment advisors, because they're everywhere.
Yeah.
They're everywhere. We want to say a very big thank you to you, Mr. Akin Adeniyi.
It is a pleasure.
CIPM, for your time on the radio this evening, and we have been discussing why you need an investment advisory, or why you need investment advisory. It's been such an education. To continue the conversation, head over to www.cfasocietyng.org. You can get more information there. Thank you so much for being a part of the broadcast this evening. Till we'll come your way again next time. Don't you ever forget, CFA Society Nigeria, always making finance a force for good. Have a good evening. Thank you for joining us on this episode of Money Talks, hosted by the CFA Society Nigeria. Stay connected with us on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, X, and YouTube at CFA Society Nigeria. Follow us for more financial insights and updates. Keep a date with us next time.